Hey guys, it's another system integration video, and today we are going out of state. I actually took an Uber to the airport because I did not want to leave my car sitting in a parking lot for 2 weeks. I actually haven't been to this airport in about 11 years, and I don't remember this maze, and I definitely don't remember these jet engine looking things. Needless to say, when I first walked in, I was pretty lost, and it actually surprised me how many people seem to just know exactly what they're doing and where to go. My goodness, this train picks up speed really freaking fast, and it slows down really fast. I was not expecting. I was trying to record it, but I kind of felt like a creep, so I ended up stopping recording. So we are going down to Florida because the city wants us to install a PLC to a new building with two pumps, and they want this building to communicate with the old building and the old PLC and pretty much trick it into thinking that it's one big building. So the situation is there's a current building with a PLC inside of it and four pumps, and that PLC controls all four pumps. Now they built a new building with new two pumps, and we put in a PLC for that. And what they want us to do is basically trick our PLC into telling the old PLC that it's one big building. So those two new pumps, which are still ultimately controlled by our PLC, into sending the signal and information over to the old PLC. So it's sort of a master-slave situation. And it gets more complicated because it does it that way if the valve in between the buildings is open. Once the valve closes, suddenly it's two buildings again, right? Now, if I was a part of the design of this integration, what I would have offered instead is, hey, let's just upgrade the current PLC to a newer one, and just revamp the program entirely. In fact, let's throw away Automation Direct and maybe do an Allen Bradley or something that can actually handle this type of a complication a lot easier, and the programming time itself would be a lot faster. But they did not go that route. They instead went with the master slave route. And I offered another solution like, hey, this program they're asking, it is super frowned upon to have pumps controlled by two PLCs. It's not a smart thing to do. Just like when you're programming a PLC, you don't typically have two outputs in a program. And a lot of the times, especially in like Automation Direct, you straight up can't do it. The program rejects it. So this would be basically the physical equivalent of that, and you just don't do it. But the city said, hey, this is how we're going to do it. So we did another thing that's frowned upon is part of the communication, instead of it's directly being PLC to PLC, we're actually using VT SCADA, the SCADA graphic system in between, because it already has the communication on it to be like, hey, what is currently going on in this PLC, because this PLC is really hard to communicate with. And VT SCADA sends it back to the other PLC and it's like, hey, this is what we need to happen. So it's just a doozy of a problem. Oh, look, a water tower. So even though we're doing a domestic trip right now, this plane just arrived from an international trip. So just the fact that the delay was probably like 3 minutes, it's pretty good. Pretty good timing, not gonna lie. Especially because, I mean, if you look out the window right now, it's pretty rainy, but it's storming in Jamaica right now. Like, there's a hurricane in Jamaica right now. And actually, on the way through Florida, there's a pretty big storm, and we hit a little bit of turbulence, but it's basically nothing. And right about this moment, I feel absolutely everything, all my blood just goes straight to the floor. And then when we start to like level out, I feel like my balls go up to my liver and my spleen. Like there's a lot of gravity here. And just like that, you would have no idea that it's raining below us. So it's about a 2 hour trip, and I watched a little bit of YouTube. Currently been watching Ross Creations, which we actually have a plant in Sarasota that we are working on. So it'd be amazing, be awesome if we saw him. But also I've been starting to watch for fun. They're kind of like a Mr. Beast alternative, and Bay Area Bugs for GTA RP, stuff like that. Pretty good channels. You guys should definitely watch them. The last time I flew, I remember them being kind of freaky about your cell phone. Like, you had to power it off. They would walk through the aisles and make sure that your cell phones were all turned off before they even got the plane up in the air. And they didn't do that at all this time. So I think they've finally realized that, hey, cell phones don't really mess with the magnetism of the cockpit. So I got in the Uber at about 3 o'clock, got to the airport at maybe 4 o'clock. The flight was at 6, and it's about a 2-hour flight. So we're currently descending right now, so it's about 8 o'clock right now. You can hear the flaps come out and the plane's starting to slow down. We're definitely getting closer to the Earth. And I believe it's still another hour drive to get to the hotel, and then another 30 minutes from the hotel to get to the island that we need to go to. So first things first, we need to get off this plane. They actually took my bag. I wanted to put it in the overhead above me, and it's probably good I didn't. I don't know if there was even any room up there anymore, but they told me to leave my bag to the side and they were going to put it in luggage. So that's what they ended up doing. And it was raining out, and so my luggage got wet. So there's a lot of factors in this trip that were giving me a bit of anxiety, and needless to say, I crapped myself twice before I even got in the Uber, and I pretty much decided, hey, I'm not going to eat anything before this flight because I do not want to be in a situation where I have to use the airplane bathroom and stink that crap up. And fact, they actually at right before we boarded, they changed my seat, which I paid for the seat, so I should be able to pick the seat I picked and keep it that seat. But right before boarding, they changed my seat to the very last seat right next to the bathroom, and I do not want to be right next to the bathroom when somebody stinks it up. You know what I mean? I specifically picked a wing seat because that's personally what I like to see. I want to see the engine, you know. And I get motion sickness, so that would be the most stable part of the plane. But they ended up changing it back like as we were getting up to board. So I don't know what that was about. Don't know what that was about at all. But yeah, I had a lot of anxiety, so I was hungry, and when I got to the hotel, I was dehydrated like a motherfucker, man. Alrighty, so we found our baggage, our wet baggage, and now it's time to look at the car. They pretty much said that I could pick any of these SUVs, even though I pre-selected one. And the keys are just sitting there in the dash. Just grab the car and go. And then I'd show my license over at the gate. So this is the car, and this is the look around that I did just to make sure that there's no dings or damage or anything. So you see those bollards over there? So the exit signs told me that I had to go through there, right there. So I drove up to it, and then I realized, hey, there's nobody in these little, I don't know what the heck you even call these, the little escape route thingies, the little building. There's nobody there. So I realized there was nobody, it was just not going to open. And there was somebody behind me, and somebody honked, and I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do? I can't go forward, there's nobody there. So we ended up backing up and driving through a parking slot, and just going through a manned one. And of course, there's a little bit of traffic here, just a tiny bit. With it looks like some old people are having trouble down here. Alright, it now begins the drive. I have absolutely no idea where I am, but I know I need to get back on 75, which is ironic because I'm on 75 all the time, but in Georgia. And believe it or not, the sky is actually about to absolutely dump on me, and I don't know if you can tell from all the lightning strikes, but yeah, it's about to dump on me right now. And I decided not to record because I couldn't see anything. I could not see the road. There were no more street lights above us. It was just, man, it was bad. And somebody spun out in front. It just completely went off the road. Like, I even hydroplaned for a split second. It poured on us. Yeah, but I got through it. Chest with this bitch. I turn around face down. Yeah, I'm wrestling this bitch. Okay, bro, what is this blue light under the red lights? It changes to whenever there's a red light. I fucking made it, mate. So, let's have a grand tour of this place. Um, Pretty odd layout. In fact, when we go back out into the hotel, I'm gonna have to show you guys the layout of the hotel itself because it is what the heck of a mess. Like I've never seen a hotel laid out the way this hotel's laid out. And why is the handle on the opposite side of the shower head? This place is weird. Anyway, let's go get some food and show you the layout. Bro, that was kind of awkward. Like, what what are the odds? Like, do you see these two rooms are like kind of tucked in there, man? Like, just the odds. I think I even heard the dude was like, man, the timing on that. Wow. Out my way, B. Anyway, so yeah, imagine my surprise trying to get into the hotel and I'm like, okay, where the hell is the elevator? Like, I don't even think the signs told me where the elevator was. I was so lost when I walked into this place. So I was gonna walk to Culver's because it was across the street, and I wanted to show you guys the Lambo store that's right next to the hotel, but it started raining. I just realized that they close at 10, and it's like borderline 10, so I need to quickly eat this. This is the first time ever actually having chicken at Culver's. Time to get up and take a look at the job site. I gotta say, that was probably my worst sleep in a while. I could not stop waking up dying of thirst. So one thing I've noticed while driving around here is it seems like everybody, even the Challenger, the Camaro, you name it, everybody's doing the speed limit. Now in Georgia, everybody's doing it in excess of 20 over the speed limit. Like, it is nuts. I don't know what's going on here, but nobody is speeding.
Bruh, I just saw road coconut. You know, like roadkill, but like there's just a coconut on the side of the road. And then I saw a sign that said there's cougars nearby. There's more cougars and alligators on this road? Like, what the hell?
So it appears that there's a lung closure on the other side of this bridge, so we got some traffic backed up. Now, another thing I've got to point out is everything about this area is like perfection. There's no trash anywhere. The grass is really nicely kept up with. Like, this place is really nice. Like, people actually care around here, and it's really sad. I felt the same way when I went to Europe and came back to Atlanta. I was like, man, this place is trashed.
What is this roundabout? Bro, what is it?
Alright, so we are at the job site now. It looks like they still haven't dropped the pumps in, which means electricians still haven't wired anything, which means I was right. I did not need to miss Halloween with my wife on our very first house. To go to this trip a week earlier than what I told the contractor that was going to end up needing to be. I shouldn't have to tell the contractor when to expect me on his timetable. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You don't start doing controls in the middle of a week. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. Well, I am here. Nothing much can be done now. So this is the old building. You can see the 4 pumps coming out of the wall, the actual pipes coming out of the wall. This is the old building that has the old PLC that we're going to turn it into a slave PLC. And then the building next to it, which is a lot nicer building, is the new building. So let's take a gander in the old building. Here's the 4 upright pumps, and they got their VFDs right in front of it. Man, this building is very warm and humid. It is warm in here. And it looks like the discolored pump is probably a fixed pump, so they probably had to change something out. And then this is the slave PLC that we're going to be trying to communicate with, which I suggested before that this should just be a PLC upgrade, just a rip and replace, but nope, we didn't go that route. So they have a UPS in the bottom, they have the fiber connection, which is single mode, currently to the right, and then the direct soft PLC to the top. And then it's actually going to be converted from single mode to multi-mode to RPLC, which is just in the next building over. So usually you do multi-mode when it's a short distance and single mode for a long distance. So I actually just teleport over here, and that's our panel right next to the main breaker. And then over here we have our VFDs and then the main power cabinet of sorts. So here they're lubing it up and dropping it down. At the very bottom there's going to be a bunch of water. And now we have to go to the other plant on the northern part of the island and talk to the other programming guy that resides here. I've got to say it again, this area is really nice and clean. Like, I've never seen a plant that looks this good. Like, there's not a drop of rust in sight. And remember, we're pretty much in the ocean. There's there's got to be rust somewhere, right? I am so glad they have Starlink. And of course, this is our panel. So if you see in the previous video, you'll have recognized this panel. But there's a screen which will show the graphics and the SCADA system in it, and then all of our field stuff, all our wires, pumps running and stuff is coming into here. Yeah, there's literally nothing else I can do today, so headed back to the hotel. Probably gonna stop by and get some groceries, and then just chill out, I guess. Man, dude, this is like the third time I've had to turn around, whether it's just the GPS froze and told me to keep going straight into a dead end, or the road's just closed. Like, man, I just want to get out of here.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day with me. So, right off the bat, we got some issues. So I have my field service guy out there, and he's called me up and said, hey, there's nowhere to connect on the other end. And I was like, well, there should be, because that wasn't our job to do. That was their job to do, the IT people's job to do. So we called IT, and IT's like, oh, we thought you were providing the patch panel for it. Yeah, we provided a patch panel. It's in our panel, so we can connect to you. Why would we? That doesn't make. Why would we give you a patch panel? What? No, that's not how that works at all. We do our work. We connect our stuff to your stuff. We don't connect your stuff to your stuff. That doesn't make any sense. That's just not how this works. So, and then they gave us the wrong fiber, first of all, right? And so they reran fiber, and they put another patch panel in our panel. So now we have two patch panels, and we only need one. We can't use the one that has single mode. We need a multi-mode. So I'm like, is there any way we can use the patch panel that's never going to get used ever, that's now hooked up into our panel for no reason? Can we use that and put that in their panel? Because this is ridiculous. That's just, it needs a little bit of common sense here. Now, I understand why they use single mode, and it's because everywhere else around the plant was single mode. But you have to follow the specs, right? So the specs were approved for multi-mode, and like we said before, multi-mode's for close distance connections between two devices. And well, that's what this is. One building to the other building that are right next to each other is going to be multi-mode, and that's what it was approved for, so that's what they have to use. You can't just suddenly start using single mode. None of the devices will connect because you decided to change it instead of reading the specs. So I'm going out there. They don't need me yet, technically, because can't program anything, can't test any programming or anything, because the electrician's still not done. But we're gonna have to help solve if there's a way to get this fiber to work. So that's where I'm going now. I look good. Bro, the screen keeps freezing. Like I can't do anything.
This here is the valve between the two buildings to tell the program whether or not it can program, and it can't because you see this conduit, it has no wire coming out. You see this hand spun wheel, it has nowhere to connect to. So this switch is IT's side of the equation, and that SFP module on the other side of the yellow cord is multi-mode. I looked it up. So they already ran the single mode to this patch panel, so we're gonna have to strip out this patch panel and take out the multi-mode that they ran but did not terminate, and we're gonna hope that we have odds and ends in order to terminate it, because that is the only way we're gonna be able to connect to their network. So we did manage to find enough parts to Frankenstein together a connection, and then over here we have a bunch of VFDs, which look really nice. So I found this lizard, and he kept running into the shade, so it kind of looks like he's getting half-baked here, and it's kind of a terrible spot for him to be, because there's no trees, no nothing around, no bugs, no anything. It's a construction site. So I'm going to grab my drink and try to give him some water from the condensation. And dude, there's like nothing to eat on this island. There's McDonald's and Publix. I don't know how I'm gonna survive on this island for 2 weeks. No panhandling and no trespassing, but it's a sidewalk. What are you trespassing? So that's not my blood. I found it when I knocked over the pillow in my sleep. Alright guys, it is Thursday now. And oh look, a turtle. I wish this was my view out the hotel. That'd have been pretty nice. Okay, guys, a few seconds ago, which was actually yesterday, was I not just behind this vehicle on the way to the hotel? And now I'm behind this vehicle on the way from the hotel? Oh, and that's the Cougars in your area sign right there that we just passed. Yeah. So we were told we would energize Tuesday afternoon. Clearly that did not happen. We were told Wednesday we would have it energized. That clearly did not happen. So now it's Thursday morning and we're going to finally energize, and we're all standing back just in case anything explodes. And as you see, nothing did. We just did pump startup, and I have to say, I don't think the residents behind us are going to be very happy that we flooded their yard, but it is very clean water. So the pump startup was successful. We were able to get the VFDs to run as well, and we were also able to get a signal from the VFDs to our PLC panel. So like, for example, that running light is now coming to us. We're getting all the faults, we're getting just about everything. We're gonna have to do analog testing tomorrow, Friday, and just finish out what we can here today. Probably networking, because we just ran into some more problems with the network. I'm going to interrupt this program and bring in this piece of edit real quick. So yesterday we did not have power, but we did Frankenstein together to some fiber that should have theoretically worked. But there's things that we did not know until today after we got power. So when I was looking at our switch, we were getting a light, but their switch we were not. What I have learned is that both ends of that fiber have to have the exact same speed, otherwise it just won't work. So what was happening is the old PLC and its switch was sending 10 gigs down to our switch, which was 100 megabytes. That's a pretty big fucking difference, right? So it was sending a false positive light to our switch as an optical illusion, basically. And we weren't able to do anything, we weren't able to ping anything. It was completely useless. We tried to use a 1 gig SFP, just hoping that there was some type of auto negotiation of any sort, but there was not. You have to have the same speed on both ends. So after a while of trying to contemplate, talking to the contractor, trying to think of where the next best buy would have been, just all the things we could do, we finally found out that IT just happened to have the exact same switch that we were using in an R panel. But my lord, they spent hours getting to us. Now they're like right next to the plant, like really close to the plant, right? They spent hours getting to us, and I don't know if it's because they've never made a power supply before, because they didn't have one for the switch at the time, but it took so freaking long, right? So they finally bring the switch over, and it's the exact same switch, which is perfect because then it's guaranteed to be the exact same speed. We went over to the old panel, we installed the duplicate switch, we Ethernet tied the 10 gig switch to it, and we just reran the patch cable, to it. And then, well, we found a bunch of flooding, and here's a new problem with the network. While we were at lunch, I think the IT department was decided to clean things up and they pinched the fiber and absolutely killed the connection. Someone randomly also decided to change the IP address of our PLC, so we lost connection again, and they didn't tell us. So that took a long time to figure out what the hell happened. But eventually it all came together and it worked. Bro, I've never seen a painted PLC cabinet. Oh my lord, that's a fire station. Look at that thing.
Oh my gosh. There's no blood. It wasn't me, guys. It wasn't me. I wasn't bleeding everywhere. All right, as an engineer, I have to say, I'm surprised this didn't come up during the door making process for the shower. But okay, so water comes out of there, hits you, runs fast along the door, hits the very edge. I mean, like the very edge, right here. Hits the puddle of water that's collecting and building up. As you can see right there, splashes and causes wetness all over the floor. You'd think they would have noticed that when they were first building the doors at the manufacturer and addressed that or engineered it, but whatever. And ironically, these are the exact same doors that I have at my house, so I'm gonna check that myself. Starting to think that that's not a turtle. I don't know what that is. Aerospace and defense systems. That sounds like a pretty cool job to have. Interesting. If I saw that dude, I'd probably talk to him, just be like, hey, what's this do?
Unlike other PLCs, this one, the CPU is not slot 0. It's not a slot at all, I guess. So the Ethernet port itself is slot 0, and then the first digital input card is slot 1.
So today's gonna be a boring day for you guys, all right? So I was at the other plant where the network is, where the main controls are. I didn't even step into our panel except to grab my multimeter because I left it magnetized on the side for my field guy to use, and he didn't give it back to me. So I had to go down there and grab it. Field guy left probably about lunchtime, although I missed lunch entirely, so I'm kind of hungry. We managed to get the flow simulated because we weren't allowed to flow anything, and that came back perfect. I scaled that shit perfect. And then pressure from the discharge, perfect. I scaled that shit perfect. And then the only other analogs that we would needed to have gotten is the VFD speed and the VFD speed feedback, which they were depowered, so couldn't get anything from there. Basically, I spent today looking through the graphic system, VT SCADA, and looking through the program and trying to clean up anything, fix anything that stood out. A good bit of it was trying to network between the PLCs. And there is, they have this saying at this plant because some of the maintenance guys work on, damn it, this fucking damn screen froze again. I probably missed my turn already. Oh. Okay, so I just got really, really fucking lightheaded. The main problem right now with the program is I got to rework how the PLC knows if the two buildings are coupled or decoupled, if that valve is open or closed between the two buildings. And remember, our PLC is supposed to pretend like it's the master PLC when it's coupled. So that was pretty much today. Now I have the weekend, and I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do with the weekend. It is Halloween night. I'm really fucking mad that I'm not going to be with my wife for Halloween night on our first Halloween, to see the kids coming and decorate and all of that. It really, really sucks. It's Saturday. What do we got today? So, we have nothing to do today, but The Walking Dead is on TV, so that's cool, I guess. Last night there was nothing, literally nothing on TV. We gotta do laundry today because we still have another week. So I gotta figure out how to do that. So, got downstairs,
I bought some detergent, and these machines use coins, so I have some. I don't know how much it is, but I have some coins. That's $10 of quarters. So, gonna figure that out now. It's on this floor. I don't know if it's on all floors, but there's one on this floor. $3 in quarters doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it oddly took a long time to put that many quarters in this machine. What the fuck do I do now? Do I leave it? It doesn't seem very smart. Yep, that's me. I stayed for the whole 30 minutes. And guess what? The dryer is 45 minutes. I'm missing a lot of The Walking Dead right now. And I'm pretty sure after this episode, it's just going to go straight into Halloween movies. So, yeah. Naples Botanical Gardens. Wow, this tree is freaking horny. These look like the things in Jurassic Park where they put on the end of the dart to tranquilize T-Rex. It says here they dyed the water black for contrast. Oh wow, look at this vanilla forest we got going on here. Are these coconut balls in my face right now? I don't know where the fuck I am anymore. Well, it doesn't look like you're doing a very good job. That's some weird sounding wild animals. This low-key gives me flashbacks of playing Tomb Raider on the PS1 and the PS3. It's probably time for me to leave. I'm getting way too many mosquito bites. I'm itchy as hell right now. If you want to go to the Naples Botanical Garden, you will have to get here super early. I got here at 9 o'clock and there's no room to park. I had to park out here on the side. It did seem odd that a lot of the people here weren't even on the trails. It seemed like most of them were actually in the food court area. Oh, it's safe to say I got exclusive Mountain Dew chasing. It's Monday. Now I have to drive uncomfortably close to this loose pole, poke it, and awkwardly wait for someone to answer the phone. Of all my job site desks, this is probably one of the better ones. So believe it or not, there's actually 2 Publix on this island, and the only fast food option is McDonald's. How is that even possible? So I went to Publix, and there's a lot of like construction workers, landscapers, and stuff on this island. And so they all go to Publix because there's no fucking food around here. All the chicken's gone. All the sandwiches are pretty much gone. So I was like, man, I don't have time for this. I just need to grab something. I got 3 things, the Lunchables. Well, this program's not going to work at all. These X's and Y's are coming from the old program, which is a hardwired input and output. And if I'm getting the information from SCADA, it's just not going to work at all. So I need to convert this into a SCADA writable input-output. The city makes these choices, not me. It's Tuesday, and if everything goes well, today could potentially be my last day here, albeit as long as I do some training towards the end for the operators. The day that I'm supposed to leave, I have my tickets for, is Friday, but I can change that if I need to.
So like I was saying yesterday, the X's and Y's, I have to do something to them to allow the program to work with the other building, because the other building has the hardwired connections, which is what an X and a Y would be. And our building with our PLC is trying to send a signal and receive a signal from an X and Y that doesn't exist. Now, the other PLC, we're going to technically cut off controls for it while our PLC is running. So, in the end, our PLC just is the only one that actually needs to know if it's running or not. We're using the other PLC as just a remote signal. It's convoluted, man. Regardless, I've already changed all the X's to C's, right? So now I got to change the Y's. That's where it gets a little tricky, because I've said it before, I don't want to touch things that are not mine. And the other PLC is not my PLC, so I don't want to have anything to do with it. It's really convoluted. I really don't like the way that this program's done at all. Like, I wish they would have just done one PLC, upgrade the PLC, even anything, and just let's do the program from there. Bro, look how far back these cars are.
I just realized that there's another button up there. Wait a minute.
It's the end of the day. We did not test the automation, so I'm not going home tomorrow. What we did do was comb through the program super deep, super in depth. Instead of relying on SCADA for majority of the messaging, we did work in some PLC to PLC messaging, which there's no way I would have been able to do that by myself. There's things like identifiers and stuff. For example, I don't know what ID his PLCs are, you know what I mean? So, and the messaging was done in his PLC to my PLC, more like reading from my PLC, right? So I couldn't do any of that. I do not want to touch other people's PLCs that I do not need to touch, especially when the automation's working correctly. So we went through that, got all the messaging done that we needed to, which is great. I don't like relying on VT SCADA or any SCADA network. If I don't have to, I'd rather have a hard connection, but of course the hardest connection is Ethernet. So while we were finishing up, we looked at everything looked good. We saved it, and immediately the pressure shot up from 80 psi to 95 psi, and the pump started freaking out. Usually they only have like 2 pumps running at a time. A third pump kicked on, and they're all running at like 60 hertz, so max speed, basically 100%. They're more like 95%, but 3 pumps running that high is unnecessary. So there's clearly something we did that as soon as we saved it, it fucking freaked out the automation on his PLC. And I'm like, we didn't change any of the automation. We didn't touch anything. Like, all we did was message. All we did was enable messaging and read it. And everything that's being read over isn't being used yet because we haven't clicked, hey, my PLC is now controlling everything. Disable all this or change all this. We're not doing that yet. All this doing is enabling messaging. What ends up happening is there's a rung coming through, and you have to have a timer on this rung. It's super convoluted. I do not wish DirectSoft 6 on anyone, but the timer is timing it, and each one of these rungs after the timer have to have its own time preset. So this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds. You cannot have them happening at the same time. And then next to that, later on in each one of those rungs is a read from this identifying PLC, load that bit of the identifying PLC, load this many bits of that identifying PLC, and then read the specific vector. I forget what it's called, just whatever variable it is. And then you can do whatever you want, right? And move on to the next rung. Well, we had all the timing correct, but it was reading the same bit
somehow, and when you read it at the same time, not even at the same time. I don't know why it was messing up. It was reading the wrong bit, and it was causing a conflict with the next rung being read, and it was spooky. All right. Basically, it was a typo on which bit it was supposed to read. So we got that solved, but that was right before we left. You know, it was the last step of verifying everything. Tomorrow we're gonna test, and the idea is nothing will look changed to the operators. It'll run no different than it was before we tested it. That's if everything works, and if that all works, then maybe I could go home. Obviously, it sucks because I can't test the new pumps, which is kind of the whole point of this project, right? We don't have the VFD guy here, so he can't run them. We were running into a flow meter issue. They said that they're pushing flow through the flow meter. They're doing like 6 gallons per minute. And I was like, that's weird. Why is the flow meter just doing kind of weird stuff? It's not working. We're not seeing anything on SCADA at all. And then it clicked. I had to call the dude back. I was like, oh, there's a cutoff minimum for that flow meter. It's just the standard of that flow meter. And I was digging through our field submittals, you know, our equipment, and reading our specs and stuff. And the minimum is 789 gallons per minute. And they're doing like 6. Of course you're not gonna see anything. So they can't run that much flow through it. So the best we can do is what we did before, is simulate on the flow meter itself. And SCADA sees that perfectly. It's scaled perfectly. It's great. So I'm gonna have to pray that the week that the VFD guy's here is that everything works smoothly. So I'm gonna pray that tomorrow everything works smoothly. If tomorrow works smoothly, I'm not too afraid of everything else working smoothly. So last night I couldn't sleep fucking at all. I was thirsty again, dehydrated, and I think I'm grinding in my sleep. Whoa, grinding my teeth in my sleep, because there's a point on the other side of my lip where it matches it right next to my canine, and it's right there. It feels like I just bit straight through my lip, and it hurts so much. So yeah, stressful sleeping, stressful being awake. It's great. Oh, dude. So I was in the middle of programming, right? And like we're trying to go through every single rung, trying to clarify everything, make sure there's no weird things. And in the middle of it, it just disconnected. I was like, what the fuck? So I was remoted into the panel PC that's connected to the PLC as more of a display. But I was connected to it through remote access, and then bam, it just gone. All right. And I was like, what the fuck? I tried to ping it. I couldn't ping it. And then the city engineer, he could still see the PLC. So I was like, okay, so it's clearly not a power outage, because the power to the PLC and the PC it's the same source. I was like, what the fuck? Why can I not connect? And I didn't get to save the program. I didn't get to do nothing. Long and behold, after 20 minutes of waiting, the electrician, for some reason, opened up the panel and turned off the PC. Why? Why were you even in the panel to begin with? But why that? There's no reason to have switched off the panel PC at all. It's Wednesday. I don't feel so great. Probably doesn't help that there was not a drop of hot water in the shower today. And I'm guessing all the old people woke up at the exact same time and used the shower at the exact same time and just drained the crap out of that heater. Today is testing day, so hopefully all goes well. I'm not sure how this is gonna go at all. The other thing is, so I allow room service to come in while I'm at work to clean up.
Does that not look like trash? Like, I think it looks like trash to me. Why are they not taking it?
It's been several days since the flooding, and there's still water everywhere, but hopefully that gets solved when they finish grading the area. Let's go ahead and take a look-see inside the new pump station. Pretty good. We got 2 new pumps and the third one that doesn't exist and probably won't.
It's 9:26, and I've been waiting to test these pumps since 7:40, but the city engineer's been busy, so just sitting around waiting, just losing time. So I'm pretty burnt out right now. To be honest, I don't even really feel like recording this anymore. But it was about 11 o'clock. Finally got the city engineer and plant manager for the city. They were all there, as well as basically a high-level maintenance guy. We're sitting on the stairs in front of the building, and the city manager guy is like, hey, you're not going to be here next week, but that's when we do the full test. And I'm like, yeah, I know. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't be here next week. If the VFD guy was here this week, it would be great. But, of course, that's not what happened. And on top of it, I wanted to be here this week and next week, not last week. I told the contractor that's probably not a good idea, but he's like, oh, just do it. So here we are. So I basically have to tell the city plant manager, like, hey, that wasn't my fault. That I didn't choose this. I wanted it to go the same way that you wanted to go, right? But whatever. And I don't do confrontation very well, so I'm trying to please him while at the same time not tell the client, hey, there's tough luck, right? So I'm just getting nervous from that, right? That alone. But then on top of it, I'm getting nervous because, hey, I have to start up some pumps that I have to try a program that's a really stressful program, a really stupid program that's already stressing me out just thinking about it. But now I have to actually get it to work for the 4 pumps that are already working, right? So what we decided to do was we're just going to turn off the new pumps, disable them, and hope that my program will run the old 4 pumps the same way that they've always been running, and hopefully nobody can even tell the difference, except that it's on a new SCADA screen. And unfortunately, that didn't work. So we finally got to testing after trying to talk to the city manager about that whole scheduling thing. I'm like, if you can VP me in, maybe I can kind of be there. But even if I was here, I can't watch your pumps 24/7 either. There's nothing I can do. But so finally get the pumps. We got them in a spot where we could try to test them, and we turn them on, and immediately right off the bat they don't work. Pressure just keeps dropping, and I'm like, well, shoot, man, what the fuck? So I re-enable all the pumps back to the old PLC, which is, I'm glad I was able to do that. That would have been extremely stupidly stressful if I couldn't do that. And what had happened is, in this program, there's you're probably used to calling them subroutines, but in here they're called like gates, basically, or sections. And the section for checking to see if the VFD was on, or if the VFD was enabled, all of that was not coming through because the section was disabled, which is just really fucking annoying. So I deleted the wrongs, copy and pasted them earlier on where they would always be either true or not, and it created a new prerequisite to allow it to be read, right? Long story short, we figured out the initial reason why the pumps weren't running. We set it all up again, and we go to test it, and it failed again. So now, I don't even remember why it was failing the second time. I think there was a message that wasn't coming through. It was a temperature. It was a high temperature. It was immediately giving us a high temperature fault. And the reason is because it wasn't being messaged from the old PLC. So we had to redo everything, reconfigure it, allow that temperature to come through, test it again, and it failed. Again, the pumps did not fucking turn on, and I'm like freaking out. I'm super shaky at that point, right? And it's past lunchtime, and I'm hungry, and I hear the other guy saying that he's hungry, and I don't want to hold everybody up. At the same time, like, I'm in a shitty fucking situation. So I could not figure out why it was failing. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to run it again because everything I'm seeing, it looks right. I'm gonna have to do it again. So we run it again, and then I see that it's the pump's not readying up. So I look through the ready up, and I'm like, it actually readied up once, right? And then it didn't ready up the second time, which was puzzling. And I found out that it was ready for a little bit, but then it was sending a fail to start. Turns out that the set points all got erased for the timer on that, so they're all 0. So as soon as you try to run the pumps, it immediately says fail to start. Oh, right. So I gave them all a fucking 50-second timer. Ran it again, and it was still failing to start. And I'm like, dude, okay, so that's not something that gets messaged. That's 100% automation controlled on my end. Why is it failing to start? And I'm digging through it, and I see that there was another fucking message variable that I thought I had already fixed. It's called, is the VFD on? Stupid fucking variable. Because there's another one called is VFD enabled. And of course, the prerequisite for VFD enabled is VFD on. So they're basically the same fucking thing, and I have VFD enabled. So why the fuck do I not have VFD on? Anyway, stupid fucking program. It was the original program that mine's a copy and a remastered version of is from fucking like 50 years ago, maybe. So I was like, man, I've got a message over if the VFD's on now. But I also kind of want to like review it to see if, hey, did I in fact put this somewhere else and I just don't remember it? But right off the bat, it doesn't look like it because it's saying that it's expecting an X value, a high-level X value, which means that it's expecting a hardwire connection that straight up doesn't exist. So I'm going to have to message it. So that's what I'll be doing. I stopped at McDonald's again, so it's like, I don't know, like the fucking 10th time in 2 weeks. I've had everything. I've been mixing it up. Burgers, nuggets, fish fillet of fish, however the fuck you say it anymore. I don't even know anymore. My neck fucking hurts. My head hurts. I'm anxious. I'm not good with this kind of pressure. I like programming. I don't like putting things on the line, other people's stuff on the line, especially. If it was my stuff, I'll break it all day. But it's not my stuff. I hate that. So I'm gonna go back to it. Pretty much finish lunch. I really have to fucking pee. And see if I can't figure out how to get these pumps to run. I'm stressed, man. I'm so fucking stressed. On the bright side, I am glad that every time that the program has failed, they haven't been like, you stupid fuck. I'd probably quit. It's like, I'm already stressed to the max. I'm deep in your automation system already. If you just randomly started calling me a stupid fuck and a failure, I'd be, oh man, I'd just quit. Fuck your plant.
Well, I was getting excited because you can see that these two pumps are running, but what's actually happening is the program's kind of lying to me. It freaked out and re-enabled bits of the other PLC, which is kind of lame. So I don't even know how that's possible. So I got to redo it again.
I have no idea what happened there. It literally, it's like the program just freaked out. There was absolutely no reason for it to do what it did. We redid everything and it kind of came out fine. Like it didn't do it again, basically. The next problem ended up actually being we were telling the pumps to run. You could go to the old pump building and see that the pumps were running, but they were running at 0. And we're like, why is there no speed going through? Check the program, there was no speed being altered. Like it wasn't telling it to do any speed. And we're like, what the hell? It had 2 PID loop outputs. And majority of the time, if you have 2 outputs, they conflict and they won't do anything at all. I don't know if that was the problem in this case, because it wasn't airing or anything. So I went ahead and deleted both of them and put them in a rung that was always active. And then the other issue was there was no set point for the stupid pressure. So we gave it a set point and it worked. We saw that the PID started doing a sine wave, which the PID loop's purpose is to get the VFD speed to try to smoothly ramp up and down to match the pressure set point to the pressure that it is, or opposite. So we could see that it was ramping up to increase speed to try to meet the demand of pressure that it was required. And it maxed out at 100. It was 100%, 60 hertz. And it even started the second pump, but it was just, they were both at 0. So what I'm thinking is, that was the end of today, is that we have to go back tomorrow and double check the other program, the original program, and see if there is a situation where it's not being messaged to increase the speed, which I swear we already did this, but we're gonna have to redo it because that's the only thing I can think of. Everything else is working perfectly on my end as far as I could tell, which is great, I guess. Could have been solved hours and hours before that, but whatever. So that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. We're gonna see if it's being messaged. And then I ordered some food when I got here. Now I had to take my pants off, my socks off. They were just nasty. My pants were just covered in dirt and grime, and there's nowhere. I'm gonna sit in the bed, so I'm gonna be in my underwear. Basically, I don't want grime all over the bed while I'm trying to sleep in it. So I ordered to take out delivery, so that I could work on other things while I'm here and chill at the same time. The dude gets here and he goes to the front desk and he calls. Now that thing makes the most annoying noise I've ever heard a phone make. It's super high pitched too, probably for old people, I guess. And well, does that work for old people? I don't know. I don't know what range they can hear, but regardless. So I walk over, I pick it up, and I'm like, yo, what's up? And they're like, hey, the delivery guy's here. Do you want to come down and get it, or do you want him to come up? Obviously, I want him to come up. I mean, it's part of delivery. Do you not understand? Anyway, so he comes up, he drops off, whatever. I was hoping to avoid putting my pants on and my socks on and my shoes on again, but the restaurant did not give a fork. So I have to go and explore and try to find a fork somewhere, right? I finally get back after finding a fork and a knife and taking pants off, socks off, shoes off, not in that order. And it's like they put all the seasoning that was supposed to be on the chicken, because the chicken was bland, and they put it in the spaghetti, but they didn't mix it, so it was just chunks of seasoning, and it was horrible. And the chicken itself, I couldn't even tell that it was fried. I literally had no idea it was fried because it was just so bad. There was supposed to be like 2 fillets of chicken, I guess, and they were like fused together, and it wasn't fused by cheese. I don't know why they were stuck together. I didn't get that far. I gave up on the chicken by that point. The chicken itself was like as if it was from yesterday, and it was sitting in a heat lamp all day yesterday and all day today. It was so damn dry. Like, it, it was terrible. The whole meal was terrible, and the only reason I'm complaining about it is because it was like $10 more. It was like almost $30 by itself, like not taxes, not delivery, nothing. It was almost $30 by itself, which I could get a better version of that from O'Charlie's or Applebee's, you know? Yeah, it was it was not worth it. So, tomorrow is my last day. I have to be up at 4 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday to be able to get to the airport on time. So, tomorrow is my last chance to get this stupid automation running. So, hopefully, I get some good sleep tonight and I can de stress a little bit. I'm pooped, man. It's not even late, and I'm just so tired and burnt out on this project. The project is like not even a hard project in like theory. The way that it's handled is the stupid stressful part, though. Dang. So I just double checked the program on his end. I'm at the other plant, which is where his office is, and it was not receiving our speed command. So we put that back in. So we're going to go out back to the plant and see if it works. I'm like beyond fucking pissed right now. They're canceling flights, right? And because of the lockdown. So I'm already just fucking stressed about the whole fucking project. Stressed about not being able to get home. Now I come out here to do my final test. Literally, I'm right fucking there. I have my computer hooked up. I have the screen ready. I'm just waiting for the fucking city people to get next to me so that I could push the fucking buttons. The electricians come. A whole bunch of fucking big ass trucks come. Bucket trucks come. They shut down fucking power to the whole building. And they say, oh, at minimum, it's not going to be back up till lunch. This is my last fucking day. How the fuck am I supposed to test this shit? I literally might as well fucking go home right now. Like, I can't do anything. I'm so sick of how much fucking time I've wasted here. I even told the contractor just like 5 minutes ago, I was like, hey, I feel like I've wasted so much time here. It should have been this week and next week that I should have been here like I fucking planned originally. What is that?
Electrician also just called and said that they're ready for us.
Bro, calm the fuck on. I can't even go through the gate. I guess it's lunchtime for the city people because they're not out here. So I'm still wasting time trying to be proficient here. I even got my lunch early, anticipating this. I'm bringing the keys with me. The car is 100% off, but when I get in the car, it's for some reason blowing air. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know what's causing this. I don't want the car dying on me. Like, I just pushed the button again and it turned it on. I couldn't even control the air. Like, there was no controls. It was just blowing air to be blowing air. I don't get it.
Random fact is that roof is about a foot or more thick, and it is just pure insulation, plyboard, more insulation, metal sheathing, and there's some lightning rods in it too. So after the final test, I finally figured out the very last problem with the program, and it was a constant fail to start. So I had to just force disable it because it was triggering for absolutely no reason. And after disabling it, everything worked. All the 4 old pumps worked the same way they did when they were running on the old program, which is yay. But of course, in the process, we broke the automation for the new pumps, and we can no longer see flow. So I will have to like VPN into it or come back another week. Yay. So while everybody else gets to be upset that it's not finished, I have to set my alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning and hope that my flight doesn't get canceled when I get there.
It's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is such a weird time to be awake. I never would have expected a gas station to be open yet, but it is, and I didn't know a Wawa was a gas station. I didn't know, like, it's like they're trying to say Walmart, but didn't. And then it also kind of sounds like, from based on a commercial, that it's just a coffee shop, but it's actually just a gas station.
So getting here is a lot smoother when it's not thunderstorming. My flight was not canceled, so I'm going to continue proceeding into the airport. There's not a whole lot of people here this early in the morning, so that's pretty nice, and it's a lot easier to navigate than the Atlanta airport. I get that it's super early for a child, but this kid really needs to stop screaming and crying at the top of his lungs. It's driving me insane. Looks like Fort Myers is getting an expansion terminal. That's pretty cool. And everything else seems to be good. We're taking off and going to be in Atlanta here real soon. Was just slightly not fast enough to record it, but I was able to see the entire circle of a rainbow on these clouds. It was pretty cool. And we finally landed, and we taxied for about like 15 minutes straight. I'm not even kidding. And there's so many Delta planes here, man. There's just rows and rows of Delta planes. It's crazy how much money in planes is here. And I also want to thank the Tower people, because I know nobody ever sees them, so they never get thanked. But I'm very thankful that they were here to help us land, even though they're not getting paid. And I did get lost at the airport for about 15 minutes. I could not figure out how to get to my Uber. But I am home, and I am so glad that I am home.